Hi there, working homeschool moms. This is Charlotte from Charlotte Jones 24/7 and My Little Homeschool. And this is episode number 102 of the Strike a Balance podcast for working homeschool moms. On today's episode, I'm going to be answering the question, help, what do my homeschool kids actually need? And the reason why I put this episode together is because so many new working homeschool moms or working moms who are considering homeschooling don't actually know what their kids need. They doubt themselves and they are worried about their abilities. So if this is you, then I hope this episode is going to give you some encouragement that you should trust yourself and that you can take those first few steps of working homeschool mom life with confidence, knowing what your kids need. Before we get to the episode, I'd be ever so grateful if you could rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, or you could forward this episode to a new working homeschool mom who's feeling a bit unsure about what steps to take first. Thank you so much and enjoy the episode. Hi there, and welcome to the Strike a Balance podcast for working homeschool moms. This is Charlotte Jones. I'm your host, and I am a podcaster, a speaker, a writer, and a homeschooling coach, specifically for working homeschool moms. I've been homeschooling my neurodivergent twin boys since 2017, and I've been a working homeschool mom since 2017. So I know it can feel really overwhelming to keep all the balls in the air all the time. So each week I chat about tips and strategies for being a happy and thriving working homeschool mom. I cover things like time management, homeschooling, mindset, and lots of other juicy topics like that. I also speak to awesome and inspiring women who manage to juggle homeschooling and work successfully and find out what their secrets are. And I also welcome experts who can help you on your working homeschool mom journey. I have lots of ways to support you, so be sure to check them out in the show notes. You can download my time audit as your first step to managing your time better. I have a Facebook group for working homeschool moms that you can join as well. And be sure to sign up to my newsletter for weekly updates. And if you need additional support, you can join the WHM Collective, which is a supportive community of working homeschool moms where we delve deeper into topics that are going to help you thrive as a working homeschool mom. Or if you need one-to-one support, be sure to book in a session with me. I'm so excited for you to be here, and I know you'll get so much value out of this episode. So let's get started. Working homeschool mom, I know how overwhelming it can be to choose a math curriculum for your homeschool. That's why I'd like to tell you about the online math curriculum we've been using for years, ctcmath.com. As far as math curriculums go, it has loads of great features that solve lots of the math issues we've had, and I know a lot of homeschooling families have. Here are just a few of the many features that we really like. Questions are adaptive, which means the interactive questions change in difficulty depending on the student's ability. The program uses a smart algorithm that tracks the student's progress and delivers questions based on their exact needs. The student doesn't even know this is happening, helping them to build confidence and master math concepts. Concepts are delivered through video tutorials and summaries which are clear, complete, and easy to follow. It's like having your very own teacher. This ensures your children understand something before they're asked to practice it. And then for us parents, CTC Math has extensive reports which are so valuable in monitoring your child's progress and spotting any gaps. And they offer a 12-month money-back guarantee if this curriculum is not for you and your family. CTC will provide a full refund, no questions asked. But I think the most important thing is a whole lot less stress when it's math time for both parents and kids. You get to outsource math with confidence, and your kids get a fantastic tailor-made program that makes learning and mastering math enjoyable and positive. Visit CTC Math today to start your free trial. CTC Math is also offering you, listener, an amazing special. When you go to ctcmath.com/MLH, you can get a half price discount plus a bonus 6 months for free. That's ctcmath.com/MLH. Hi there, new working homeschool mom. I see that you're worried and you're asking yourself, what do my homeschool kids need? This is something that I'm asked time and time again by new working homeschool moms or working moms who are considering homeschooling. So I want to let you know what worked for us and what's worked for other working homeschool moms that I've spoken to on podcast and in my community as well. As with anything in life, take what you need and leave the rest. At the end of the day, you'll know what's right for you and what isn't. Let's start with the educational system conundrum. Let me know if this scenario sounds familiar. You want to take your kid out of the educational system. You know it's not working for them, and you know in your heart of hearts that there must be a better way. But you're plagued with doubts and worries. You're second guessing your abilities to give them what they need. You feel like you're going to shortchange them if you homeschool them while you work. So, have these contradictory thoughts been rolling around in your head? First of all, you're not alone. And secondly, I want to set your mind at ease for at least a few of the doubts. The first thing you have to do is to trust yourself. I believe a big part of why you, as a new working homeschool mom, feel like you don't know what your homeschool kids need is because you're still in the framework of the educational system you came from, and you don't trust yourself to do better. Education looked a certain way for you, and even though you know the system isn't working for your child, it's hard to see outside of it. Better the devil you know, right? So the very first step in knowing what your homeschool kids need is to trust yourself. You have your child's best interests at heart, and this can be your guiding North Star. When everything feels messy and you don't know what the first step is to take, remember that your motivation and intention are pure and true. It will give you some breathing space, and then you can start from a place that's less fraught with worries, doubts, and fears. The next thing I want you to keep in mind is that your homeschool kids need you. Now, I don't mean spending hours and hours homeschooling to the exclusion of everything else. I know you have to work, manage your house, have a life too. What I mean is that they need some dedicated time from you every day. If you can be eyeball to eyeball with them for at least 30 minutes, you're going to see some amazing things happen. So, why is this so powerful? When it comes to homeschooling, it means that your kiddo will get one on one attention. This is how you'll identify any gaps and be able to fill them properly. They'd rarely be able to get this kind of attention in public school. You'll be able to encourage them to build their confidence. This is often what's lacking in subjects like math, for example. But even more than that, this characteristic of being confident is so important for life in general. If you took your kids out of public school or a structured educational system, you'll be able to rebuild the bond. You'll get to know them again and build and trust connection. So after the break, we're going to look at some practical things that you can do at the beginning. The WHM Collective is a monthly membership on Patreon that was created with you in mind, working homeschool mom. If you're just starting out on your journey, or if you're finding it difficult to find your groove, then the WHM Collective is definitely the membership for you. Each month, we delve into topics that are going to help you thrive as a working homeschool mom, such as homeschooling, schedules, time management, and lots of other juicy topics. I know how busy life is for you, working homeschool mom, and I know how complicated life is too. So that's why this membership is super simple. Each month, there's one live workshop, one ebook, and one session of office hours where you can have your questions answered in real time. In addition, you'll get one free coaching session per membership and an added bonus of having access to all past content, which you can work through in your own time. So if you're feeling like you need some additional support as a working homeschool mom, then I really hope that you will consider joining the WHM Collective, because I know that it will help you so much to find clarity and to move forward in your working homeschool mom life. Welcome back. Let's get practical now. I know that you want to know about some concrete steps that you can take. If you've been listening for a while, you're probably going to guess what I'm going to say next, but I'm going to say it and say it and say it forever and ever and ever because it is so important. In order to have a successful homeschool, you're going to need to deschool, because this is how you're going to figure out what your child needs exactly. The reason why deschooling is so cool is because it's full of unlearning and learning. And I know it sounds like a contradiction, right? But it's going to help you to unlearn what's not working and learn so much about yourself and your child. So here's a breakdown of the phases of deschooling you could take. Obviously, each homeschool is unique, but they can give you a guide to follow, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed. Just remember to trust your gut. You'll know when it's right to move on to the next phase. So phase 1 is rest. The first phase is about rest, recovery, and decompression, especially if you've taken your kid out of public school. We took a year and a half. if not more, and have done it many times. I know it's very tempting to hit the ground running, but I know from personal experience that this doesn't work. Give your kiddos some time to sleep as long as they need to eat when they want to, and to get used to being at home. My advice is to give them as long as they need, and you'll know when they're starting to get bored and want some more stimulation. The only thing you need to do in this phase is to observe your child. Take note of when they like to wake up, eat, and go to bed, what time of the day they're the most energetic, which activities they're choosing to keep themselves occupied. All this is going to give you an idea of when to homeschool, how to homeschool, and what type of resources to use. Phase 2 is discovering interests. During this phase, you're going to be more intentional about discovering what lights your child up. You could start writing down in a journal what content they like to consume, what books they choose to read, anything, what YouTube videos they like to watch, what TV shows they enjoy, everything like that, what activities they like to do. So if you're working outside of the house, you can ask your children's caregiver, or even ask your kids what they did during the day. The second option can be really effective for older kids, and it will help them to become aware of their interests too. A successful homeschool is definitely a team effort. If you want to move this phase along and you have the time to do so, you could take your kids to the library and let them choose all the books they want to. It's a great way to see what interests them. Ask them to tell you what type of field trips they want to go on. Take them on field trips if you have the time. Explicitly ask them to tell you what they're interested in and how they like to learn. Like I said, a successful homeschool is a team effort. Phase 3 is transitioning into structured learning. I believe the most important part of this phase is trial and error. There are so many homeschooling methods and style that you could homeschool in any way that you want to. And here are some tips for choosing. Start with your homeschool values and goals. This is going to guide you in the right direction. Once again, make sure your child is involved in this. Get your kid involved if they're old enough in every aspect of the homeschooling journey, what they like to learn, what their goals are, all those kinds of things. Try out lots of things before you decide. Lots of programs will give you a free trial. You could buy a secondhand curriculum. There are many options that allow you to try out before you buy. And don't be afraid to mix and match. You don't need to fit into one particular learning style or methodology. You can mix and match. There are no rules. And be open to changing and amending as you go. It's always good to reassess, maybe every season, every 3 months, whatever works for you. So my final thoughts on figuring out what your homeschool kids need. Figuring out what they need is probably going to be an ongoing task, so it's important to keep that in mind. As they change and grow, they'll need different things, so always be open. That's my biggest piece of advice here. Be open to change, be open to everything. And lastly, do not forget yourself in the equation. It's so important that whatever way you and your kids decide to homeschool, that it's manageable and sustainable for you too. As a working homeschool mom, you'll have a lot on your plate. So be sure to get that self-care in, to be kind to yourself, and to celebrate all the wins. As always, I'm here to support you on your working homeschool mom journey, especially if you're starting out. I know it can be overwhelming, so be sure to reach out. You can book in a coaching call, and we can brainstorm the first steps that you need to take on your working homeschool mom journey. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. Please let me know what your greatest takeaway was. You can reach out to me on Instagram at charlottejones247 or on my website at mylittlehomeschool.com, or you could even drop me an email at hello@mylittlehomeschool.com. I'd be ever so grateful if you could rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. It will help spread the news about being a working homeschool mom, and in that way we can build this wonderful supportive community together. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, take care.